On to the bye week, but I had some good review from the game over the weekend and saw some really good things on film, confirmed some things, and then also brought some things that we know we can address and fix. Not an error-free game, but with a lot of points on the board still. But proud of the way the team played, and looking forward to the next matchup. Obviously, we'll have a bye, so it'll be a work week for us still, especially the bye being so early. But we can get an early jump on East Carolina and making our first road trip out back east. So there's a lot of good things happen, but I mean we still want to build on the positive things that we're seeing, but also get some other things, some areas that we could really help our team be more efficient and specifically scoring more points. But the we knew going into the game that Stanford was going to be really, really physical, and they're going to try to establish a physical presence at the line of scrimmage and offense and defense, and so as much as they can do with special teams. And I thought our team was really physical in all three phases, and that we can build off of that. Saw it on film, and really impressed with our team and the way the coaches prepped them. So that was good. We needed that game, and so looking forward to building on it and getting better. So, what questions do you guys have?
Kalani J. Catch KSL Sports Zone in Salt Lake City. Just wanted to ask you, in terms of looking back at that game against Stanford, were you able to glean anything else in terms of the struggles you guys had in the red zone after rewatching the tape?
Oh yeah. I mean, we had way too many mistakes, and so there's a combo of mistakes where they're you know missed assignments, and then obviously the penalties don't help you. They can kill drives and kill touchdown drives, but it's just a little mental errors that we had. And then some of the mental errors were actually not doing your assignments, not catching the ball, things like that, stuff that we can fix. So I'm not too worried about it. We know what the problems are. We know what the solutions are going to be, and we'll get working on it.
You've had quite a rotation on that offensive line, particularly at guard. Are you any closer to solidifying a five-man starting unit, or are you going to keep rotating for the time being?
Yeah, we don't need a solidify five-man guy, five-man starter. I mean, when Waylon gets back, it'll be even more than that. So I think I've said before, we have a lot of guys that can start different positions, and so it gives us the flexibility. Coach was he can handle that room, so whatever he feels comfortable with, those guys playing in different positions, I feel good about it. But the interior three, I think we rotated six guys, so we rotated four guys at the three positions. When Waylon's back, we'll be ready to add to that. So, right now we're gonna keep working with whatever Coach Woods is comfortable with. It's a good luxury to have.
You mentioned after the game on Saturday that you considered having Wolf Aaron kick that 64-yard field goal. Have you ever had a kicker where you're that confident that he can kick that far? And where would you say he ranks amongst BYU kickers that you've played with or that you've coached in your years?
I think BYU's always had guys with strong legs that can kick the ball, and so I think I don't know if I can rank them all, but I played with the Potchmans and with I mean we've had always had great kickers. So I know that you know look at Matt Payne, he's got a strong leg. So we've always had strong guys that can kick long field goals. They just never really put in that position before. I don't get me wrong. I love that Will can kick and has a strong leg, but we don't have to make him kick these deep ones. You know what I mean? Like, and I wanted him to kick more PATs than field goals. So that's going to be the goal. But I just like his mentality. He was ready to go. He was already warmed up, ready to kick that ball if we needed him to. I think the biggest issue was why did we have a sack before that made it an even further field goal when we knew it could have been much closer if we didn't take that sack. And that's not all on Bear. That's on the entire team. That's the protection, the routes, all that put together.
Yeah, another special teams question. I don't think we talked enough about Sam Vanderhaar and the work he did on Saturday, pinning Stanford with inside the 5 yard line. Can you maybe just speak of his work and what he's been able to do for the team from a punting perspective?
Yeah, and I mean, Sam's always been obsessed with being great at what he does, and so he's never he's never held for field goals or PATs before too. And when you give him a task and you ask him to work on it, he's just going to go crazy with it. And looking at the way he does it, I mean, we put a lot on his plate and ask him to do a lot of different things, and he's not a natural football player. He's Australian rules football. So being an Aussie and being here and learning the game and trying to, we're asking him to do a lot of different things, and I think what he's really good at and what he feels comfortable is being an accurate kicker and punting the ball into the pinning them is something that he does really, really well. So when we could do that, I think that with this defense, it makes it really hard on offense to have to drive over 90 yards to get a touchdown, and that puts us in a better position defensively. And so it helps. It's a complementary football game for all three phases to work together, and he definitely is a big part of that.
And as far as injury wise, it sounds like Waylon, you guys are expecting him back soon. Is there any update on JoJo Phillips or?
Yeah, JoJo, I think we're waiting on on a little bit more details. There's going to be some time with him, but looking at Waylon, we were expecting and hoping that Waylon will get done. It all depends on this week. We know for a fact he'll be back the week after. We're just hoping that with this bye week that this can give him some extra time, get him ready to go against East Carolina.
Kalani, you noted that this is going to be a work week for you guys still to get an early jump on East Carolina. How will this bye week be structured differently at all with it being so early in the schedule this season compared to years past?
Well, we want to still keep in the rhythm of our offense and defense. I mean, we knew about this bye a long time ago, so we prepped for it. So we know what we're going to do practice, and we also can't just it can't be like a regular work week where you guys get some wear and tear. I mean, you got to do enough, but you to keep to keep on top of it and keep consistent. But then at the same time, we still want to gain our legs back and get fresh. And so the balance will be everybody's different at different levels. So I don't know if the starters will have the same same type of week as the backups. And so it all depends. We still have guys that are still developing in the program. So it's hard for me to lump it all into one. But if I'm talking about the starters, it definitely will be work, but not as much work as we had last week. But we still need some things to improve on. So we'll do whatever it takes to get better as a team. But that means that this week's got to be important. It's not a week off.
And to follow up in terms of getting better as a team, like how much of the focus do you want on the offensive side to be the passing attack and developing that chemistry to stretch the field? Because that's always been a staple of your guys' offense in the past.
Yeah, I think we're working towards that. I mean, I think looking at the game, the entirety of the game, the feel, I felt like Bear made some really good decisions. We also made some safe decisions, and that's okay. We don't anticipate putting it all on him, and so having the defense that we have and understanding the game, the run game that we have with LJ and Sione, and what the O line likes to do. I mean, we will put all those things into play, but when we get towards the next phase, I think the more comfortable Bear gets with this offense, and even in game situations and these type of environments, is going to be really good for him. So I mean, it was quite hectic seeing some new looks and things like that, but I thought overall he had some great decision making moments and throughout the whole game and took care of the football. And not a lot of the issues are going to be on him entirely. He can lean on veteran receivers, a veteran O line, and the veteran backfield. So we'll keep working on it. But I think I feel like it's progressing the right way.
Kalani, you talked about the progression of Bear. Is it simply just going to take more reps in games, or can you do anything in practice to speed up that process for him?
Well, we didn't really hit him in practice, but he ran a guy over to get in the end zone. So, I mean, the practice has to be actually realistic to what he can do and what he's capable of doing, what he wants to do. And so we'll practice the right things, make sure we get him in the right position, make sure that we have the right protection so he's not getting hit in the back when no one's even blocking edge rusher. So that'll help, but those things we don't really need much attention from him. Those are things we just need to have all the other 10 guys doing their job. And if we can do that, it'll help him out a lot. And I just talked about a veteran receiver group with a lot of talent, tight end room, O-line and backfield. So I think everybody else needs to step up a little bit more and make it an easier and a quicker transition for Bear.
Yeah, Coach. Last week when we were walking, we heard the loudspeakers going off, and A-Rod actually mentioned that you guys were using kind of some of that piped-in crowd noise for the defense because LES gets so loud when the opponent's on offense on there. Will there be kind of similar things that you guys work on, like sort of the logistical aspects of playing on the road, I guess, that you kind of work on through the bye week and as you prepare to go on the road for the first time, like
Yeah, of
that?
course. Yep, of course. And I mean, we're not the only team that does that, but we got a little bit of that in camp, fall camp. But yeah, obviously the noise will shift the other way, but that's something that I think there's a lot of things that we can do to help prep our team for it. But this is our first road game, so it's gonna be a lot of fun. It's gonna be a really cool experience, and we're counting on seeing our fans out that way. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Kalani, looking at the kind of the snap totals, at cornerback, Trey Alexander and Evan Johnson led the way in snaps. Are they emerging as the top two guys at cornerback?
I think everything's always a competition. I think we have, Maury is another one that's in the rotation. It's good to have great talent, kind of like I talked about earlier with the interior line. We know we have more than just two guys that can start. So Maury will be in the mix for sure with those other two. But it's kind of like the safety thing where we have Tanner and Raider, and then you're seeing a lot of Faletau. We just feel good about a rotation being in there, and we'll see how that goes this next week. But I want those guys to always compete and compete for the starting spots. But also knowing that we have coaches that are capable of getting a rotation where everybody can stay fresh and we can play fast the entire game.
You were mentioned earlier about when you watched the film that the team was really physical and that you can build off that. I'm curious, do you feel like that's going to be maybe the identity of this team that can carry week after week the physicality? And what do you attribute that, how that came together with this group being so physical out of the gates this season?
Well, we've never had a problem with not being physical, so I think having a tough brand of football matters, but it's just good when people want to line up and play some smash mouth football. It's nice that we can respond the right way. I think a lot of times the game has gone where a lot of people don't think it's really physical. It's gone more of trying to spread the field and do things like that. And it just feels good that you can be able to get in there and pound the rock. And when a team's trying to pound the rock on you, you can be basically hold your ground, and you're not only that, you can knock them back and get them in minus yards. And so that's always been something that we're proud of with our team. I'm super glad that our staff was able to get that out of the players from the beginning. And I don't know. I'm not gonna make statements about our identity. We just got to keep working. We don't know what's going to happen, how the team's going to respond to whatever comes next. But we have a feeling that our guys are very capable, and you have to recruit that, you have to develop it, and you have to keep being all about it. And I think our coaches have done a great job at making sure that these guys can play comfortable. And it's a game with pads on, so you have to be physical and violent.
Kalani, Frank Reich last week called your defense, or Jay Hill's defense, NFL quality in terms of its ability to mask coverages and the like. Does that speak more to the coaching, or does that speak more to the players' ability to execute what you're looking at?
I think it goes both ways. I think you have to have players that can run the system that Jay wants to run, that I completely agree with. And like I said, this is a defense that I'm really familiar with and I feel really comfortable with. So, and then you combine that with the support that they have on the staff from all the different coaches that are in there and the analysts, and makes it really nice. And then you have to have the pieces, the players. We really feel good about the talent on our team, and we're speaking defense specifically. Feel really good about the talent defensively, and there's a bunch of up and young, just upcoming young players that are going to be big time players for us. And we're getting some reps here and there for them, but man, we really feel good top to bottom about the entire talent on the defensive side, and I feel good about the coaches. So it goes both ways, but when it comes down to it, the players have to be the ones that can make the plays. And when injuries and things like that happen, you have to rely on the depth, that there's quality depth and there's quality talent behind the guys that are starting. And you're seeing the depth where it's not really much of a gap between 1 to 2, and that's a good sign, and the fact that you have to play more guys because the talent with the twos are close to the ones, and you have a great rotation. I love that our coaches are able to do that and recognize that these players are ready for it. But we have guys that are developing that are young that I'm telling you are going to be something special. And the quicker we can develop them, the better. And I know Jay's really excited about getting that done too. So we feel good about the defense and the way it's working right now.
Then real quick, Gary Anderson's been up in the box with Jay and Aaron. Is he up there as a resource to bounce ideas off of, or does he have a specific responsibility up there in the box?
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of different things that he does that we can lean on, consulting us as from his perspective. But he's also been a D coordinator before too, and a great one at that. So utilizing all the talent we have around us, it's been really helpful. I mean, we can't do it all alone, and I know Jay, if you spoke to him, wouldn't say it's all about him, but I do know one thing. Jay's done a great job leading this defense. I'm really happy he's here, but he's done a great job leading his staff and allowing his staff to empower. He empowered them to make some decisions, and you look at the things that Gennaro's been able to do with the defensive backfield. That's why Jay wants to work in the backfield with him, and you see what's happening with the front seven, with the coaches, with K-pop and Justin and Shione, the way they're working together there. And so wherever Gary can help, wherever our guys can help. We also have Chad Kahaha that's been in a lot of different P4 programs, and so it's going really good right now, and I don't have to do it by myself, and neither does Jay, and so it feels good that everybody can help out.
Next question from Brandon Gurney.
Coach, you just spoke about the exciting defensive depth, and I immediately looked to the defensive end position. You guys started the season with a lot of exciting, inexperienced talent there. How's that shaking out? Just as far as Tausili got a lot of reps last game, Hunter Clegg stepped up. Can you just maybe address just how your defensive end position's going for you with those young players?
Yeah, I think Logan Latui's done a great job leading that group. I mean, he's the veteran of the group, and then seeing guys come through. I mean, Vil Poha and Bodie Schoonover, and you have you have Hunter Clegg's doing some really good things too, and Tausili Akana's done a great. I mean, it's just getting them reps to be a complete D end. Right now, we're kind of mixing them up, and I think K-pop's doing a great job rotating them. But there's still some things that they can work on to get better. But man, it's weird. It's like we were happy with what we see in the talent there, but we wanted to keep working towards it because we can't just lean on what their their strengths are. We got to be able to make sure that they can all play and be a complete D end. And so we have a lot of guys that can do that. I think you mentioned a bunch of them. So yeah, but we'll keep working it. There's also guys that are up and coming. I think Kini Fonohema played in this last game, and you're going to see guys like Nusi Tamoy Peal get out there. I mean, there's a lot of guys that can play and there's some guys that are banged up, but it's going to be a lot of fun. And I mentioned the young guys. That group right there is a special group.
Kalani, wanted to ask you a big picture college football question. There's been talk about the transfer portal going to one window. I know you're typically a guy that you'll go with whatever the flow is, whatever the rules tell you. But your thoughts on just maybe one window potentially being on the football calendar going forward in January, and maybe the pros and cons of just one window.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really given it too much thought. I mean, because it seems like so far away that we only had 2 games played right now, but eventually we're going to have to start thinking about that and prepping for it and how we can use it to be a strength for us and how it can be an advantage for us competitively. So, yeah, I think whatever the decisions are made, you guys know me, I've always been about the transfer window from the beginning anyway. So anyone that has transferred from here, I've always signed the waiver so that they can play and even play against us. So I've been doing transfer window stuff before anybody else did, and been agreeing to it, even when players that transferred to us didn't get the same luxury that I gave to our outgoing guys. So now that the transfer portal is here and it's one window, we'll just have to make it work in our benefit. And I think we have the right staff, the recruiting staff, to make that thing work. I think, allowing Dave George and Justin Anderson and the rest of the group some time to formulate a strategy that will make sure that we can take advantage of it.
And last thing for me, just how much of the time, if at all, for your staff to go out and travel to recruiting locations this bye week and spend some of that time in this work week with recruiting trail?
Yeah, we'll be doing that too. So you're going to see our coaches getting out and seeing our guys. It's just hard because we have a bunch of guys that we want to see, and not all as much time as we can. Right now, you're limited to how many coaches you can send out at one time right now, but we'll take advantage of as much as we can and try to go see our future Cougs out there.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
Appreciate it, guys.